ce? Il est beau le Jean. E toată era glumița asta. Live? Bună dimineața tuturor celor care sunt alături de noi. Good morning to everybody who is now with us, either in the room in Bucharest, in a beautiful building, very close to the National Bank of Romania, as well as online from all over Europe. My name is Ion Gheorghe Petrovai. I'm a medical doctor, and I will be your host for the current panel today. And before inviting the speakers, I'm very happy to have today a very mixed panel, as it should be in a conference of high level. Healthcare innovation requires multidisciplinary perspectives and initiatives, and we have a great panel. But before that, I was invited by the organizers to pick a couple of slides in order to set up the tone. So I would like to ask for the technical. I picked the pointer. So, the name of the panel carries a lot of heavy words. Artificial intelligence in precision medicine, challenges and opportunities. And I think that every word deserves at least 1-2 hours of discussion. However, in the interest of the people, I think we should have a bit more pragmatic perception and approach. And as I said, we have very interesting and very multidisciplinary panel. But before that, I would start going 100 years ago. The older I'm getting, the more I'm seeing the lessons that we could learn. And I think that today is about one of these lessons. 100 years ago, this little bottle, which was called Radithor, it was registered US Patent Office. It was certified radioactive water containing radium and mesothorium in a triple distilled water. At the time, the manufacturer could say anything about it. The people were using it very similar with something called Swedish bitter, especially the people that are a bit older heard about ideal panacea. But there was a medical way of saying this as well. Mild radium therapy. And because some people really believed that this was helping them, after not that much time, the side effects that we all know now appeared. And imagine, radium is radioactive. And radiations, we know how much care we need to have as doctors, as patients in a hospital, as just people who have somebody, and we know how rigorous are the standards now. And what happened after not that much time is that people at the time just saw the positive sides. And the positive sides, because they were coming from a commercial society, were heavily amplified. So you had a full line of cosmetic approach which was apparently giving you glow. Not necessarily a healthy glow, but it was a glow. I don't know what would have been in the clubs at the time. However, after a while, because radium was considered to be a very wonder substance, it was natural after all. Radium is a natural element. You can find it in the nature. And it was used for the watches and actually gave the people that were painting the watches with radium radiation disease. Also at the same time, because the mindset was similar, was this elixir sulfanilamide scandal, 1937, with more than 100 dead children, because they were not aware that something that really could dissolve sulfanilamide was bad for the kidneys. It's one of the errors in medicine, and I think ROHEALTH, as a conference, is one of the points where you can see medicine as it is, not as it should be, because this is how we progress. The outcome, 1 year after, FDA was set up. And usually, I was discussing yesterday also with the people here in the networking session, we are learning from crisis, unless you are wise enough. And probably this is the spirit that I would like to put forward in front of the audience and with the support of the fellow panelists. Preparing for this panel, I tried to understand how this looks like from a perspective of AI in healthcare. And I discovered this slide that I was happy to show you about what needs to be done and what is the intention of the policymakers to make AI, which for many people seem like a universal panacea. We are talking all the time now about the impact it has in different industries, in different approaches. And this, without regulation, can actually, it does already a lot of damage around the world. So in this context, there are a couple of things that should help us, professionals and beneficiaries, to benefit from an AI that has little chances to do harm and more chances to do good. And we are talking about data, because you cannot make AI without data. And we have European Health Data Space, Data Governance Act, Data Act, and General Data Protection Regulation. I know that usually we see the obstacles, but in many situations the obstacle is actually the proof of reliability and the proof of trustability. Security and trust, it's a long way to go in this direction. We are daring enough at the Babes-Bolyai Public Health Department to put for the first time in the public health curricula a course on data security. And we don't really know how to manage this, because people have either 0 or 100% expectation. But before the course will be taught, we will manage it with external support. So cyber resilience, cyber security, revised eIDAS regulation, and NIS2 directive, which is apparently something very hard to connect to from the healthcare providers. And very important, and I think this is the focus of today, safety and robustness. We have a European AI Act, which is slowly getting into implementation. We have a medical device regulation. We have a clinical trial regulation. We have health technology assessment. This is the point where we at Fresh Blood connect a lot, since the fact that you think it's good does not mean it's actually good enough to be chosen. And we need to have a revised pharmaceutical legislation as well. So keep in mind that Romanian healthcare ecosystem is already visible in Romania, visible at national level. Many of the startups that are present on this framing, on this mapping, which is done by Fresh Blood every year. We are preparing the next one in about 1 month from now, are beginning to embed AIs in their solutions, or they have been already built. And I'm very happy to have today in this panel 2 of the representatives on this map, Doctor Online and Zaya. And I will invite you to have a look what is done, to have a look how it should be done, and to think about how we could help each other moving forward in order to lead to the objective of EU for Health, which is actually adoption of digitalization in the field of health here. This being said, thank you very much for being here with us. Looking forward for a productive and insightful session. So, I would like to invite my fellow panelists to be here with us. And I will start with Julius Nistor, who is founder Doctor Online Services SRL, one of the startups, wherever you like. Then I would like to invite Dr. Andrada Artamonov. I'm sorry. Yes, you should come here, and then you will go to present there. But it should be here in order to be visible for the others. Then I would invite Christian Mogodic from Zaya to have a place as well. And we will have Nicu Roman from Mechatronics Innovation Center, and Ariana Cordoș from Romanian Society of Medical Informatics. I'm very happy to see such a balanced panel, such a mixed perspective. And I will invite first Julius Nistor to share with us his perspective on AI in healthcare from a business, from a business guy. Julius Nistor. Last version.
Hi, I'm happy to be here today with you. Thank you for inviting me. My presentation is regarding precision medicine, challenges and opportunities. And we will pass through the, let's say, definitions, opportunities, challenges, case studies, the future as we see, and conclusions. First of all, what is precision medicine? It's a personalized approach to treatment based on individual patient characteristics, based on genetics, lifestyle, environmental factors. What is artificial intelligence? There are systems which are similar with human intelligence, but analyze complex data much faster. Opportunities from the AI point of view, it's enhanced diagnostics because AI could analyze much faster than human mind big data. It's very useful in accelerated drug discovery. Instead of spending 5–10 years to develop a new molecular drug, you can speed up, let's say, to 1 or 2 years. Sorry. The second opportunity slide. Personalized treatment plans, which already are in use. Patient monitoring, which we in Doctor Online implement already, based on wearables, where AI can monitorize in real time the health parameters of the patient. Challenges consist in data availability, ethics and privacy, and regulation. In Romania, this is a huge issue because we have a lot of data, but fragmented and not interconnected. Ethics and privacy, it's dependent on regulatory existed in Romania, so we are in the beginning of the process. Clinical validation, I think we have a lot of AI applications already available, but the people are not aware of capability, each of that. They don't know about the options that they have, and most of the time they refuse to learn or to use new AI because they are not prepared, let's say, to integrate with the existing system in use. The most suitable field, let's say, in medicine for AI could be oncology, cardiology, and genomics. In cardiology, again, Doctor Online tried to use already. We have a study now started together with 2 partners, and we try to design a model in order to create a diagnostic for next 24–48 hours based on data taken from the patient. In oncology, it's already in use. We have a partner also which use 4 AI platforms from states in order to create a very complex diagnostic for patients which are interested in. The future consists, from our point of view, in collaboration, a lot of education of the healthcare medical staff, let's say, and continuous research. From our experience, education is the key point because doctors are very busy people and they don't have time to understand how this can be useful for them. I'm represent Doctor Online, and we are proud to say that we integrate a lot of applications. In a short words, what is Doctor Online? We offer virtual medical cabinets or virtual medical clinics. We create a dedicated instance for each doctor, so we create a very personalized, how to say, personalized identity on the virtual field. We try to support and avoid bureaucratic procedure that doctors are mandatory to fulfill daily. And also we try to improve the relation between patients and doctors, because you know very well the systems in Romania are not fully operational. So we try to offer to each doctor a personal portfolio of data for the patients that they manage. In conclusion, we like to say that AI could help, not replace doctors. We fight in order to present AI tools as a necessary or daily application that can be used to simplify the work that doctors has daily. It's an enormous potential in Romania, because I always make a comparison with the 90s. We start with a very bad development or technology in the telecommunication field, and in a few years, because we jump effectively in the digital era, we became one of the most developed countries from the communication or internet. So basically, technology should serve healthcare, not replace the physician, and I like a lot this Bertrand Mesco words. AI will not replace medical professionals. However, those medical professionals that use it, they use AI, will replace those that don't. I usually use this and replace AI with telemedicine or with Doctor Online in order to convince doctors that we are right for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will invite you to keep your questions for the end of the panel, and I will keep from the Julius presentation two things. First, that a startup can initiate collaborations that can develop AI solutions, which is sometimes hard to believe. It depends on the level that you operate, but actually now with technology, with people who are curious, I think it's a good opportunity. And also, we are talking about personalized medicine from a patient perspective. So the patient should benefit from personalized medicine. But actually, you can do this much faster for the doctor. You can make a personalized doctor experience. And I'm sometimes surprised. I'm quite a big guy, and I was seeing recently a commercial for another device for surgeons explaining how the surgeons could operate and adapt the device to his dimension. So 1.90 surgeon, 1.70 surgeon is not that easy. Also saw Mr. Dumitru Pronariu yesterday here, and he was a small guy because there was not a lot of space for the big guys on a spaceship. So I understood early on that I don't have a lot of opportunities in career to be an astronaut, because there is no space for big guys in this field. Thank you very much, Julius, for the wrapping, for what you're doing, and for the encouragement for the people in the audience, and for the here physically, and for the people online, to think this as an opportunity, not necessarily a threat. However, the question is, how are they actually seeing? Because we are having a lot of mixed communication. And I will invite Andrada Artamonov to share from the research at the Center for Innovation and E-Health at Medical University Karol Davila from Bucharest. Some insights about how patients and how doctors see the patients connected to the artificial intelligence and medical genetics. Andrada, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to speak on such a thought-provoking topic. My name is Andrada Artamonov. I am a radiologist in training and researcher at Innovation and eHealth Center from Carol Davila University and Pharmacy. The Center of Innovation and eHealth was founded 5 years ago as a mechanism to bridge the gap between academia and the tech industry and to promote digital initiatives and innovation among medical students and healthcare providers. It has a very broad focus from research in big data, AI, or space medicine to the medical applications of simulation, 3D printing, or extended reality. We have been involved in many research projects, educational projects, and tech-related initiatives such as Hackathon for Health, and these are some of the papers that we produce in 2025. As for the topic of today, I will talk about the perspective of patients and perception of physicians on AI and medical genetics in Romania. I will present the preliminary results of a descriptive cross-sectional study that assessed these opinions in the month of May 2025. So briefly, we were interested in what do patients think and what do physicians believe that patients think, because this might not be the same thing each and every time. So we asked both groups independently and we analyzed the results. So, what we found. Firstly, most people are open to genetic testing if it means better care. And here's the catch. Statistically speaking, the more educated the patients are on the topic, the more willing they are to accept such testing if it personalizes their care. Even more so, the more willing they are to accept genetic testing, the better they see the value of public education on the topic. So we start to see a pattern in the fact that education is key to genetic testing because, of course, it's only natural to fear what we don't know and what we don't understand. And we found out that the people who are more willing to accept genetic testing are also more knowledgeable about personal data protection, which, of course, only strengthens their trust. However, it seems that there are more patients who are concerned about the possibility of genetic discrimination than people who are not concerned. And actually, a quarter of patients do not know if they are concerned, which probably means they are. But are patients too concerned? Well, when asking the physicians, we found out that most of them are very aware of the importance of personal data protection, about the sensitivity of this data. However, we also asked them a trick question. We asked them whether they believe patients should have the right to delete their own genetic data, which of course they should because it's a protected right under GDPR. But the worrisome part is that 30% of physicians didn't know that. And I am a physician myself, and I can attest to the fact that most doctors do not know the digital laws very well. It is not well emphasized in medical school, in residency, or in in-house trainings, which is a point of concern that I want to raise with this topic. However, we found out that the younger physicians, and I mean the group of physicians under 35, are more likely to recognize the fact that patients are not as well informed on their digital rights as they should be. And this can be explained by the fact that the younger generation grew up in a technologically saturated environment and are more in tune with data privacy and digital laws. And we need to find ways to bridge this gap both among physicians and among patients. Regarding the concerns about genetic testing, it seems that the concerns of the patients and the perceptions of physicians about patients' concerns seem to align, more or less, but I want to address the fact that people are actually more concerned about their data protection the protection of their personal data than physicians recognize, which might lead to patients feeling discouraged or dismissed. As far as AI, most patients have limited knowledge, but they are open to accept the AI assistance in their diagnosis, but only if the physician is supervising, so in a hybrid model. As with genetic testing, we found out that the more people know about AI in medicine, the more comfortable they feel about accepting AI in their care. And with the concerns about the AI, the results are the same. There are some discrepancies about what patients think and what physicians think that they think. And I want to emphasize the fact that too many physicians receive no complaints about the use of AI in healthcare, which we don't know if it's a communication bias, a personal bias of physicians who might understand the technology that they use better than their patients and might not feel as concerned. We do not know if patients are too afraid to ask or if doctors do not listen, but it's something that we should address because we need to build trust in order for patients to really benefit these innovations, because they are not meant to sit on a shelf in a lab or in a scientific papers. They are meant to benefit the patients. And as we move forward with artificial intelligence and genetic testing, it's only clear that they will be more and more prevalent in the future of healthcare. So we need to bridge these gaps of transparency, education, by sharing knowledge, by pushing for public policies on patient education in order to make medicine truly centered on the patient. And we need to foster a collaborative environment in order to not only make things more efficient in medicine, but also to improve the overall care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrada. To make a connection with the previous presentation, I think the key word, the bridge between two, is the human. And I noticed that CIE has changed the logo, and now the logo is a human. It's more human structure, so it's about the people. I believe to a large extent that innovation is about the people. Then AI, if it is under human supervision. And we have seen with Fresh Blood a number of situations where the IT people could do a lot of things, but the doctor said, slow down, I need to understand what is there, I need to have control on that. And they were adopting it slowly, at one point reducing the oversight. But until they were comfortable and they understood what are the steps, it was too much technology too fast was not trustable. So I think that's one of the lessons to learn for today. You don't do everything you can do, you do the things that help and people can use. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, I know that Andrada can only stay with us for another 10 minutes or so. It's at the end of the next presentation, you can write online and address some questions to her as well. And now we will move to the next speaker, which is Mr. Cristian Mogodic, co-founder and chief executive officer at Zaya Artificial Intelligence. A tech guy and a business guy, and somebody who cares about medicine so much that they want to help doctors. And doctors are not so comfortable being helped, but I think this is moving faster and faster. Christian, please.
Thank you for your introduction, and thank you for having the opportunity to speak at this event. My name is Cristian Mogodic. I founded 5 years ago Zaya AI with a team of pathologists and machine learning engineers with the mission to develop AI solutions for anatomic pathology departments and for pathology diagnosis. Practically, we started in 2020 with developing and researching AI on images of biopsy slides. We developed 3 AI models, 2 for infectious diseases. We are able to detect acid-fast bacilli in images of Thiel-Nielsen stain of biopsies. And we have also in oncology an AI able to classify the tumor in bladder cancer. But we discovered that we were too early. And practically today I don't know any pathology lab in Romania that adopted AI. Maybe there is, but I don't know where it is. And we realized that pathology labs encounter problems like lack of hardware, lack of faster internet, for example, that is much needed for us. And we started to think that we need to propose to them an all-in-one solution. So we started to build from scratch a laboratory information management system designed for pathology labs, where all the workflows in a pathology lab, it is specifically designed there. Together with this laboratory information system that, of course, it can be embedded and work with any hospital information system all over the world, we embedded an image management system for pathology slides images that are very special compared with radiology. We are handling image maybe 100 times bigger in size than a CT or a MRI image. And also all these applications that can be standalone application, but all in one system, can be integrated with equipments like slide scanners for pathology, for digital pathology, or other equipment present in a pathology lab. The state of AI in pathology. AI adoption in pathology worldwide is growing, but in my opinion, even if two digits growing is slow. We in AI in digital pathology, we approximate that not more than 10% of total laboratories worldwide adopted already part of AI. So there are 90% that do not know what it is. For a startup, coming from Eastern Europe to address challenges like take CE mark, take FDA approval. Just for an example, to take FDA approval, it costs you $2 million, not less. So imagine that. But there are opportunities, and in the world there are people that are open to test this, and I want to emphasize one of our projects. Next year we will deploy our AI for tuberculosis in Indonesia, national scale. We are working with Ministry of Health of Indonesia. They have an epidemic of tuberculosis, 1 million new infected per year. Diagnosed. That means they do not diagnose 9 million. That's it in an epidemic like COVID times, you remember. So we propose to them to use our AI model to find the active spreaders. We will collect sputum samples. We will process with our AI models. We intend to process 2 million samples per year. That is huge quantity. Nobody today in the world processes 2 million images in AI in pathology. So we are working with them, and next year we hope to be able to start with first locations. We have to see that, we have to acknowledge that AI should be an enhancer, not a replacement. I don't understand why humans are talking about replacement and why they are afraid of it, because yes, AI will augment our power, will, let's say, make tasks that we are doing now, but that doesn't mean they are replacing us. We should adapt, and this is the key. In pathology, AI should be, and it is used as a second reader, a tool that helps pathologists to count mitosis, for example, or to, on borderline cases, to be able to determine if that tumor is high grade or low grade. And we are helping them to increase the accuracy, to reduce the speed, and in the end to increase the efficiency of the human, because there is a big problem worldwide. There is a shortage of pathologists. Doesn't matter if United States or Western Europe or Southeast Asia. I don't know what happens with my... Okay. In order to understand what does it mean to create an AI algorithm, because we are one of the first in Romania that done this we are first in Romania that done this in pathology. Beside research and beside creating a database that is not existing, because you have to annotate the images, that is a very hard labor to be done by specialized doctors. You have to build AI models that has to go through clinical trials and has to provide high accuracy, sensitivity, and specificity. And then you have to go and comply with ISO for medical devices, ISO for cybersecurity, and be able to scale this at commercial level and put on top of it a way to monetize everything. Yeah? Imagine that it is as hard as research and develop an AI as providing a commercial tool to be used. So there are two different things. You should not, I don't know, confound these two. So one, it's an AI, but if this AI do not have an infrastructure behind, applications behind that support the AI, user interface that is specially designed for that particular doctor, cannot be used. We have to comply with the entire set of medical devices regulation that is a pain in the ass of startups. Yeah. So we have to integrate with systems from hospitals. And I want to notice that Zaya already, right now, practically today, we are making a clinical trial with University of Pittsburgh Medical Center for our tuberculosis model, and the first results are promising. We have partnerships with Page AI from New York, MindPig from Germany. They are our competitors, but we closed the collaboration with them, and we embedded their AI models in our LIS in order to provide to our clients a bigger range or AI solutions for pathology. And I mentioned already the Indonesian Health Authorities collaboration. Regarding human and ethical dimensions in AI, of course, AI acceptance is still in the beginning, in my opinion. We have in front of our life 20 years of learning what is an AI. Doctors has to be trained, has to understand how an AI works, and this is very difficult, because I have to admit that even machine learning engineers do not understand every time how an AI is making the decision. At level of user involvement, we deployed our LIS in a big hospital in Bucharest, and we saw that there is a very big resistance to change. Humans, doctors, and medical assistant we have to work hardly to convince them to use properly the system. So the future of medicine lies in humans empowered by AI, in my opinion. We should not be afraid that doctors should be replaced because it is legally impossible, first of all. Then I have to admit that AI technology still is not at a level to replace a human being. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christian. Yes, you can hear me now. Watching your presentation, I kept in mind a couple of things. One thing is the fact that the human side remains important. And even we're talking two specialties, you're sitting together, radiology and pathology. Radiologists are among the specialties who are currently using AI solutions, constantly trying, and pathologists would be the other end of the spectrum. And you will say, yeah, but it's just about data, about images, and about drawing conclusions. So it's technology applied in different specialty can have a very, very different path. Congrats for solving problems from Romania to Indonesia. If maybe you can share how big is Indonesia, because if you have such a country.
Yeah, 270 million people.
Okay. Yeah, yes, please. Use the mic.
Indonesia is a country with a population of 270 million. They are encountered with problems in medical health areas. They have an epidemic of tuberculosis that is not solved in the last 30 years, even if they receive $500 million of dollars from United Nations health authorities and so on. There are Bill Gates Foundation is there. We are working with them to deploy our AI model for tuberculosis as well. And we propose to them to include in their protocol a step that is before the treatment or even diagnosis. This is like a screening tool. We propose to them to use our AI as a screening tool to collect sputum samples from the population in high burning area with tuberculosis infection, and to create like a funnel, yeah, to deliver to them the people that are not yet diagnosed, to deliver first information that look that people is infected because we detected the presence of Mycobacterium tuberculosis inside the sputum. So we will test. It is not possible today in any country to test millions of samples because they do not have human resources, and only an AI can do this. And we intend to deploy there, first starting with several hospitals, then to increase the presence in more than 200 hospitals. Indonesia is a big country, is I believe more developed than Romania, and they are very ambitious to adopt technology and to bring in the country new technologies in order to make the jump to the next level of society. We are talking with authorities there directly, Ministry of Health, and we will be the first AI that will receive a medical device accreditation in Indonesia.
Wow. So, thank you very much. Congrats once again. Just to circle back to the history, Romania used to have a lot of expertise on tuberculosis because it used to have a lot of problems on tuberculosis. So the current pneumology, when I entered the medical schools, it was called pneumophysiology, and you were learning tuberculosis 1 full year. That was, and we have sanatories and we have hospitals which were focused on tuberculosis. Now this it decreased as a problem, but there is competence that can be used. And to move forward towards the next presentation, but first, do we have some questions for Andrada maybe, because she might have to leave during the next presentation? If there are any questions from online? So no questions for now. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Still going to use one of the quotes from Christian to introduce the next presentation. He said that regulatory can be a pain in the ass. There are many types of pain in the ass. And I remember when I used to get moldamine injections as a kid, and it was painful, but it was very important for my protection and for the outlook. So in the context, I will invite Nicu Roman to present the regulatory dimension, also applicable for startups. So let's get the injection that will actually protect us moving forward. Nicu, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to see you here. So I would try to describe a situation where we have to integrate AI in a medical software, right? So, where? Okay, sorry. So medical software can be of different types for healthcare, for patients, for wellness, as part of medical devices, and so on. Today we will focus on software as medical device. Of course, as the previous speaker said, software has a lot of advantages in healthcare. It makes things faster, better, etc., etc. So let's concentrate. I would like to make a context for what I will present. So let's take software as a medical device. It's a software intended to be used for medical purposes without being part of a hardware medical device. And for that, also, it's very important to know when a software is a medical device. It's a medical device if it performs a medical function, example, diagnosis, example, prevention, monitoring, treatment, or alleviation of disease. Of course, everybody knows the MDR. I don't need to present it. And it defines it rather broadly. And that means you have a lot of cases when a software actually is legally a medical device. And then you have to go through all the hoops and certify it. Then comes the second hoop, and this is how do I classify my software, right? And the MDR tells us we classify a medical device by the amount of risks it presents to the patient, right? So we have class 1, low risk, nothing happens, and class 3, high risk, where the patient may die. Okay. We have 3 key criteria for classification. One is intended purpose, the other one is risk to patient, and the third is invasiveness. Sorry. And then we have the requirements. First and foremost is always safety, right? So if you are doing a medical software or medical device, the first question you should pose to yourself is, how can I hurt the patient? And MDR is all that is about it, right? So ask yourself, am I ready to do my innovation? Am I ready to do good for humanity by killing just one patient? Well, that's a bit brutal, but this is what it is, right? So of course, safety is paramount in this. And then, of course, we have the clinical evaluation. We need to demonstrate that our software is not a placebo, that it actually works and it actually brings benefit to the patient. in our experience, we saw certified products that got their certification revoked because the notified body wasn't convinced that the action on the patient was really as described. Then, of course, you have to prove everything, right? So you go to a notified body and you say, okay, I have a great product. It is according to MDR and all the other congruent standards. And the notified body said, okay, prove it. And that's the big issue, right? So in our experience, you have approximately, from a development point of view, you have approximately 30% development, 30% testing, and 30% documentation. And 10% are all other tasks. Of course, you have a lot of, again, congruent stuff to take care of, such as, for example, the AI Act, right? Such as the data protection, like GDPR, such as usability engineering, and so on and so on. But basically, the MDR says to you, your medical product is like, from the legal point of view, is like a Lego, right? So you have a list of applicable standards, and you have to look them up and see if they apply to your product or not. And if you are integrating an AI in your software, then of course you have to apply the AI Act, you have the AI risk management, and so on and so on. So there are, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 standards right now. Really doesn't matter if you do it with AI or not. You always should focus on the intended use of your software. For who is it? What does it do? What is the principal scope of our product? Then you have all the other stuff like medical risks, like clinical environment, like the business model. Sometimes it takes a lot of influence on how you develop your product, right? Do you have disposables for your product? How am I going to sell it? Is it a monthly prescription? Is it a standalone application on some laptop? Is it what? Then comes a very outmoded model that is basically demanded by the standard, and this is the waterfall model. If you read the standards for medical devices, you need to develop them in a certain way, and this way is the V model, which, again, in my opinion, nobody does these days, but everybody documents it as if, right? So this is the foundation that we have before going into the AI proper. So let's say we have a software as a medical device, right? This is the big circle there, big square, and then you have items in it, or units, right? So you have the graphical interface, the SUI, you have a database maybe with the patient data, you have a backend that does some manipulations, right, like communication, encryption, data protection, etc., etc. And then, of course, you have the AI, right? So if we take the standard for a medical device for programming, which is the 62304, right, it recognizes that software is composed of items. So we should treat AI just as an item. And each item, according to the standard, should be tested and validated, right? Or verified and validated, if I'm going to be precise. What does this mean, right? If I'm a software engineer, then I'm pretty clear what I have to do in order to test the software. I write unit tests, I write integration tests, I run them, I debug them, I do it again and again and again until I have a nice product. But with AI, there comes some hurdles, right? Because as we mentioned earlier, we have these standards, right? And then what do? First of all, we need to integrate all these demands from the standards in the quality management and development procedures for our product. And of course, the biggest problem we have is data provenance and data quality, always for AI, always. And the hard part here is to prove that our data is really, really non-biased in different ways. So gender, age, race, I don't know, sample size, etc., etc. Then, as you see, practically half of the steps here are concerned with data, like data cleaning, data balancing, data splitting, data change history, etc., etc. And then comes the easy part, model selection and model training. And then comes just one step, which is model validation, right? And here again, we go into a whole lot of expanding, because this is what we really try to do. There are statistical methods described in all these standards that I mentioned. How do we test an AI? How do we prove that it's working? How do we determine the level of confidence, etc., etc. And of course, all this needs to be documented. You need test reports, you need procedures, you need to show that you're consistent, and so on. Also, for a medical device, or for a medical device manufacturer, the contact with his or her medical device doesn't end when it's sold. You always have to follow the medical device until end of life. And for that, for software, this means post-market surveillance and software lifecycle, which means you need to monitor AI performance. So, is it going crazy during the years? Is it not? Does it perform exactly as specified? And so on. You also need to plan for software updates and deployments. Mostly that means a new recertification, because you're modifying your software and then the notified body says, okay, new certification, or at least partial certification. What makes it even harder, maybe the AI model remains the same, maybe the dataset remains the same, but definitely the cybersecurity environment changes. And that means you have obsolete libraries in your software. You need to replace them. As soon as you replace them, you have a new version of software, and C.1, where you have to go to notified body and say, please recertify me, etc., etc. So you see, if you plan to do a medical software, plan it for the long term, always. The conclusion of this presentation is locked model AIs are certifiable. Of course, a software with an AI integrated is a lot more work than any other type of software. The better AIs, the AIs with a reinforced model, with the continuous learning AIs, in our opinion, they're not certifiable right now under the MDR. You just can't, because you can't prove that it will behave in a predictable manner, period. And this is one of the hurdles. I think this is one of the hurdles that also the legislators need to address. So, because right now we are constrained to use a lesser model. But again, as the previous speaker spoke, AI is not yet at a stage where even the people that develop it can foresee all the consequences and all the ramifications. So, as always, innovation remains a stretching act between pushing the technology and remain with your feet on the ground and conservative and assess all the risks. As for challenges, yes, same as for my four speakers, data quality, I can't stress this enough. Rapid technological advancement. I don't know, a normal medical device takes maybe 3, 4, 5 years to develop, and in this time you have a lot of development. You have to change a lot. And of course, you have to invest a lot in the aftermarket release and monitoring, collecting data about AI performance. That's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Niku. From your presentation, two things I have kept in mind. First of all, comparing the reality of certification of AI and medical software in a world where my phone is updating 50 apps every day, probably, or 50 apps every second day. So in terms of thinking, then about things that were possible a while back and now are no longer possible. And I remember a story in terms of quite important in the history of medicine. It was 17th century. The king of France, the Sun King, actually had anal fistula, and the anal fistula could not be treated through medicine. Internists were at the time the stars of the medical field, but you needed surgery. At the time, surgeons were more like barbers, and because they had some scissors and things to cut. So one barber, trained barber, which was moving towards surgeon, had the courage to treat the king. Imagine, treat the king of the most powerful country at the time. However, in order to do this, he invented his own bisturi, his own special tool, and, which is not very known, he tried the operation on 50 other inmates and prisoners in order to make sure that he mastered the operation. Of course, that was a clinical trial 300 years ago with a lot of, I'll say, suffering, but that was in the interest of the king, and it changed the position of the surgeons in the medical field. It's from the time surgeons became a priority because the king gave titles, the king gave fortunes to the surgeons. So that's one thing to have in mind. So the world is changing. The software cannot too much, and you need to trust it. And on top of that, you have other things complicating the life, which I'm sure Ariana has something to share about, because software is soft and hardware is hard. So, Ariana Kordos, please, for the last presentation, to make our life a bit more complicated.
And I think that is the word that I'm going to lead with. So, I like to say that I have 5 jobs, and this pointer goes like this, doesn't? Yeah. So, I like to say that I have 5 jobs, and I like to complicate lives of people, typically. So, in order to sustain my sentence, I can tell you that on Mondays, I challenge my fellow colleagues from the Romanian Society of Medical Informatics, which are specialists in the medical informatics and in the academic field, to get out there to the business world and to the general public to get out their knowledge. And on Tuesdays, I challenge Ion with a new curricula every year for our course of Digital Health and Innovation at the Public Health Department of the Babeș-Bolyai University. But on Wednesdays, my life turns a little bit around, and I get challenged by people who buy software and hardware from ASCOM on when are they going to get their return on their investment. On Thursdays, I get again challenged by the society with Ion at Fresh Blood on how to make innovation and startups get to their next TRL here in Romania. And on Fridays, I challenge myself. I put myself in the mirror and I say, girl, what do you want to do with your life? Which path do you actually want to go? But as I want to piggyback a little bit on what Ion was saying earlier, that innovation comes in difficult times and in times of challenge. We've seen, and we have already the example of radiology, and then at the end of the Second World War, we have the innovation of antibiotics coming to life. Further down and closer to our years, we have the telemedicine, which actually saw its peak during the COVID times, and now we have a new revolution, the revolution of AI. But the problem here is that, unlike the other past innovations, AI's success depends entirely on the data quality, as Nico was saying previously, on its accessibility and on its continuous flow. And here is the main problem, because with no AI, you will not have an AI with a good data quality. And where I want to actually go back, it's on the second, do I have? No, I don't. On the second point on the timeline. So, as we've already seen that in radiology, AI is already used, data is already there, in pathology it is already there. In telemedicine, for sure it will come. But antibiotics, and if I want to go back a little bit on its curve, we can say that at some point in time, we were giving antibiotics for everything. Then we had antibiotic resistance, and now we are trying to avoid to give antibiotics for everything. And how do we want to do that? By prevention, by infection prevention, by early detection, and I want to stop here. How do we do early detection? Well, in hospitals, when somebody's already in, we monitor their vital parameters, and we get data from the lab, and we aggregate, and there are scores for that, and we calculate these scores. But how do we actually calculate these scores? Well, I'm coming back from the times when I was a midwife, and I was sitting at the patient bedside. And here in Romania, how do you do patient monitoring? Well, with paper and pen. And what does it imply? It implies that I put some data on a piece of paper, and then at the end, I take out my calculator from the pocket and I calculate the score, right? And then I have to call the doctor. The doctor will come when they'll have the time, and they'll give something to the patient so that we prevent the negative course of that patient. But what does it imply? It implies that we have errors, because if I write for the temperature, I don't know, 3.65 instead of 36.5, well, my scoring is not going to give the same maths. If I don't know, if I go, let's say, if I go to another country where it's a little bit more technology, there is a little bit more technology, I don't write on a piece of paper. I write on a computer, and I do the same mistake. The error is going to propagate throughout the entire system, so that my data quality goes low. On a second dimension to this one, we have all the time that it's spent. Here in Romania, as I said, I have to write down, I have to call the doctor comes when they have the time. Well, all this process calculated takes only for me, on a daily basis, about 1 hour per day as a nurse to do all these maths and all these figures. Then you take the time of the doctor, which walks by and does the calculators. So it's similar when you go to the computer. But what if? Plus, you have the error rate. And plus, let's not forget, we are in a world where we have less doctors and less nurses everywhere. What if? What if we have a system that takes all your data straight from the machines and puts it into a computer, and plus, on a second level, it does all the calculation and all the prediction models. That actually Nick was a little bit pointing at what can software as a medical device do. And this is the solution that I want to point out to you, that we should be going to a world where we do this medical device integration. And medical device integration comes, of course, with standards. And we have those standards, like FEAR and HL7. Ooh. But we need to get there, and we need to get to that point where we get the data in a quality matter. And that's not only the only solution that I want to point out here when talking about AI. It's also the fact that we need to consider that even if you do this medical device integration, you need to make sure that at the end you have a database where you can pick up the data from. Because I've seen yesterday in the AI course that I've been sitting for the last 2 days, a picture on a study which was published this year with the EPIC EMR, which is an American company, which does pretty much AI on the data that is on their EMR. But the problem is that if I go to EPIC tomorrow, will they give me the data? Or will I have the access to the data? Or will the data not be aggregated in order for me to work with primary source data, not with secondary source data? So in order to actually build meaningful and strong and powerful AI, we need all the granularity to the primary level of data. So I want to conclude again with the fact that the future of science and our society, it's not going to be shaped by the volume of data, but of its quality and and the accessibility to it. Thank you so much, guys. This is the QR code for our society if you want to hear more about it. We are here, we are present today, and I think also tomorrow. So if you want to speak with us, please join us for a coffee break, and we can talk more on what we actually do. And thank you, Jon. And looking forward for the questions. There is already one.
Thank you very much, Ariana. Please.
Yeah.
Can somebody help us with the mic, maybe, so that the people online can also hear the question? Thank you. Yes.
Okay, I have a question for you and for Nico regarding AI for first responder. I play a role of first responder for, let's say, 5 projects, but not first responder like coordinator of a team, CBRN team, and first responder, which first responder played by firefighters from emergency situation in Bucharest, in Constanța. Okay, and my question is for both of you. Do you predict when AI will play a real role for equipment design for first responders?
That is a very good question, and thank you for asking it. I have myself 7 years as a volunteer in the emergency department, and I do see its need, because as good as you can get trained as a first responder, life will surprise you. But it depends a lot on the accessibility to the data, I would say, at the end of the day, because to build something for a medical device that sits in an ambulance, you'll need to have data from, one, the population where the first responder is acting, because you have variability in the cases. Like, Romania has a variability, but if I go to Indonesia, for sure, first responders in Indonesia face different challenges with a different population. So you'll need an AI which is trained on the cases that are in the area. And second, you'll need it to have the data on how the protocols are applied there. So it's going to take some time. There are companies out there which already have started building things, but comes to regulation as how fast we can get them approved.
I would say the technology is there. Sorry?
Yeah.
Hello? I would say the technology is there. So there is no technical problem to do this, really. What I encounter in software in general, in AI in particular, is the setting of the scope. So we need to talk to the stakeholders, make an analysis and say, what do you want to do? Really. Because this, I'm an IT guy. I write code, right? I write code for medical devices, I write code for washing machines, whatever you want. If you want a washing machine from me, please come and say, I need a washing machine that does this, 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 and then I could do it, right? So this is the first thing that I encounter always with our clients, right? They have a good idea, but it's not thoroughly thought, right? So a lot of time goes into this concept phase where we say, okay, what do we need? Do we need an enhanced reality where I have some glasses and it shows me you have to go there, don't go there, and so on? Or I have a earpiece in my ear that says, oh, blood pressure is so-and-so, temperature is so-and-so. So you see, we already have two technical solutions that are different. We can integrate them. We have 17 technical solutions at one time and so on. So the variation is huge. Combinations are huge. Technology is there, but you always need a grassroots. You know, what do you really need as a stakeholder? And then, of course, we can develop anything.
Okay,
and certify it.
Yes.
At some point.
Can I add something?
Please.
In my opinion, an AI in medical field should come first from the need. Of course, in the future, we will learn, because right now I believe the humanity doesn't know exactly all the next possibilities to use AI in next 100 years. We just learn about AI. For sure, first responders will use in 20 years from now or 50 years from now AIs. It should come to solve a problem. That does mean how we stop, I don't know, like a cardiac arrest, like a first responder, how we use the equipment in the car or the vehicle that first responder use together with AI. So here we have to focus more on solving problems, specific problems, what kind of problems the patients and doctors from the first responders area have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from the audience or from online, if the technical support can tell us? Yes.
I have a question actually.
Feel free.
I was holding it for Christian since he did his presentation. So I love the fact that you went to a completely different geography for the tuberculosis. And my question is from a public health standpoint. How big is the problem of tuberculosis in Indonesia at the global level? How fast it will reach us, for example? We've seen with COVID that it hit us in a few months. Given that people travel and we can't stop people from traveling, how important is for us to solve the problem in Indonesia as for like the planet in order not to hit us and to need your AI machine also in Romania?
Yeah, very good question, and I want to emphasize that tuberculosis is still present in Romania, 10,000 cases per year, new cases per year. This is low comparing with Indonesia or India or Southeastern Asian countries. In Western Europe and North America, even they say that they eradicated tuberculosis, they didn't. There are still cases, indeed lower than in Eastern Europe countries. We are talking about tens of thousands, they are talking about hundreds and thousands. However, the capability of pathologists, for example, in Netherlands, to recognize high cases of tuberculosis is lower than in Romania. Because they do not have cases. Yeah. One thing. Then there are information. There were informations in this year in United States. They had a bursting in new cases of tuberculosis. And they were amazed because they didn't expect that. But of course, as you mentioned, through immigration in Europe and North America, from Latin America, first of all, in Latin America, all the southern countries encounter this problem with tuberculosis. It is not at all eradicated in the world. United Nations instead, I don't know how to say it, but they really put an effort on eradicate tuberculosis and didn't succeed. And we have to rethink how we battle against this kind of epidemics, because I believe in the future tuberculosis will become a problem in Europe and North America as well. So we hope that Indonesia will be our first, let's say, big project in tuberculosis. And of course, the plan is to expand in other countries like Philippines, like Vietnam. India is a tough country. We will see about India, but for sure the other countries are more approachable in the area. And then Latin America, we are also talking with Brazilian partners. So for sure, Africa, the same problem. They have the same problem. It is a complicated problem. It is not simple. It's not only about money. It's about education. It's about way of life. It's about the standard of life in that country. And then we will talk about human resources, equipment, and financial resources to battle this problem.
We have one question and then another question. Very happy to get questions from the audience.
Thank you. A very practical question to you regarding your AI solution, because this is about challenges and opportunities, and from what we've heard, the regulatory is one of the biggest challenges in getting these ideas to market. Is your AI solution, is it MDR certified?
Startup to certify MDR. Let me tell you why. In Europe, you have to go to a certified notifying body. Yeah? They will ask you to have 3 clinical trials on 3 different countries in Europe. That will cost you about $500,000. The results will be assessed, then they will come with requests. And most probably the first clinical trials will be not so good for you. Yeah? So you need money that a startup in these days quite hardly have. You need specialists. Then you need 2 years to complete this journey, at least 2. Yeah, optimistic 2 years. Yeah, so no, we don't have it. However, in Indonesia, we will have a clinical trial with one of the hospitals of Ministry of Health. After they will assess the results, they will provide us with a certification of medical device. We already had clinical trials. Right now we are doing a clinical trials in United States with Pittsburgh University, and the initial results are very good. So we are confident that we will receive certification from Indonesia. We train our AI model with samples from Indonesia, not only Romania. But I had to admit that today, even if we have an experience of 5 years in this area of developing new AI models that was not yet developed in the world, we have the first AI model that is at commercial level for tuberculosis, and we have a second AI model for bladder cancer, more exactly urothelial carcinoma, that is able to grade the tumor. Nobody else in the world has this kind of AI specialized in urothelial carcinoma today. Practically, I do not get MDR right now. This is the reality. I cannot. I do not have money. I do not have human resources. And I do not have clients for it. Yeah? Because if I would have in Romania, for example, 3 university hospitals that would pay me each 100,000, like in America 100,000 is peanuts in this field, I will be more confident to do this. But till then, I will not go in Europe to take CE mark, because I do not have the interest.
Thank you very much. I have one question, I think a practical question. It has been mentioned that the doctors can be a challenge, sometimes an opportunity. And I will have a question for Julius, because he's the one that is working with the wider set of doctors, different specialties, different use cases. And what would be his opinion, how to help doctors to learn about new technologies, including AI? What would be his experience and his recommendation for anybody who's putting an AI solution or an innovative solution into the market that has to pass through doctors?
First of all,
microphone.
First of all, it's very difficult. First of all, it's very difficult to have opportunity to talk with a doctor. They have zero time for other subjects than daily things. So I think I visit at least 3,000 doctors in the last 4 years. Very, very difficult to catch their attention. And okay, they react very positive in the beginning, but they don't follow the idea. They don't have time to understand how the things can be improved. Yeah, so they like the idea, but all the time they say it's not right for me now, or I don't have time. For us, for instance, even we try to convince them that if they use AI, okay, telemedicine, different application, they get a lot of time, or they become more free for private activities. They still use the same habits, and they complain that they are occupied after working hours and or during the weekends or during the holidays. I think the most important thing to change this habit of doctors is to educate them, yeah, to explain or to invite them to attend courses where we can be more coherent in show them real cases when they can use AI or application using AI. We start to give examples during our meetings, but I think it's very important to how to say, to imply platforms like Edison, yeah, because they offer courses for doctors, they attend because they get some points, and if you can offer for this type of methodology, I don't know how to explain, digital competencies to doctors, yeah, they will understand, they will apply this, or they will use these tools, and they will see in time the benefits. Because we've always said time is the biggest enemy of the doctor, and based on our experience, more than 80% of the patients wants to use this kind of
that
tools.
is I was thinking. Sometimes the patient are the driver of...
But the doctors are less than 5%. So it's very difficult.
Maybe in the new generation. Also, if you want to comment something, Christian?
If I may add, of course, human factor is the most important in my opinion, and the mentality. And we see this worldwide. There are early adopters, and then after that, others are coming. The main factor for AI adoption in diagnosis is human factor, is the decedent, and here is not only the doctor. Here is the financial director of the hospital. Then there is a medical director of the hospital. Then is the operational director. So we have this chain of decision. Then I want to emphasize that in Europe, in Romania, we have problems with infrastructure. Sorry, I know that we are bragging about how fast is the internet in Romania. Not in the hospital. Yes, so we have to transmit over the internet data, gigabytes of data, terabytes of data, yeah? Infrastructure of internet in the hospital is so bad that you cannot do it. Simple, you cannot. So you have to ask them to change the internet infrastructure. That is an impossible task. And this is one of the reasons why AI is not adopted in Romanian hospitals. This one, internet. The other one, the age of the computers that doctors are using is antiques. They are using computers that has to be thrown next day. They are so ancient and so low in power and resources and RAM memory. It's impossible to work with that kind. So in order to work, I have to donate to the hospital some computers. Otherwise, they will not be able to use my software.
Thank you very much for pointing the reality.
So I want before I leave, I want also only to comment on what he was saying, that on medical device integration, actually, and I was pointing out before that I get asked by hospitals worldwide when I'm going to get my return on the investment on medical device integration, on AI, and so on and so forth. And why do they have this question? Because when we start building the price for medical device integration, software, then AI, and so on and so forth, we tell them the prerequisites. And the prerequisites normally are a very good internet connection, very good computers, very fast computers. And for that means that they need to make also the investment into that. So an internet connection means actually throwing cables in the walls, because it doesn't work with Wi-Fi. You need cables in the walls. So that means that the hospital needs to tear down their walls and put the cables in and call us when they've done it. That's a $500,000 investment, basically. Afterwards, we can start discussing software, AI, and so on and so forth. And that's why actually that's the most asked question that I need to answer a lot of the times. And guess what? Not only in Romania, all across the globe.
Another one for you. Procurement law in Romania. Look, if you want to sell an AI, practically you can process an AI by requesting a special server equipped with special microchips that are called GPUs, graphical processor units. And this has to be over the internet, either in a cloud or either on-premise. To deploy on-premise, it will cost the hospital more than 100,000, just for equipment, not mentioning the software. All the entire world, it's working on cloud today. Yeah, because it's more scalable. It is not cheap at all, unfortunately. Don't fall in the error that the cloud is cheaper than on-premise. It's not. But however, the new business case is software as a service. So AI is a software as a service. You see ChatGPT that is working over the internet in a browser with a subscription. Yeah? So practically, another problem that stakeholders in the industry in Romania, for example, encounters to sell to public sector is procurement regulation. It's very painful. You have and they are preferring the on-premise. And here it's a problem because it's a problem of intellectual property.
Yes,
yeah.
It's easier to show the boxes for them, and you
yeah.
don't want them to see what's in the box.
And then they are like putting barriers, unnecessary barriers, because one is to get funded for more than 100,000 euro, and the other one to pay monthly subscription of 1,500, for example.
And even if you get software, not as a service, you'll still have maintenance. Even for software, you need update and maintenance. So even if you don't sell on the software as a service protocol, but you sell on sell first and then get up, you'll still need to have the SME afterwards.
I want to emphasize that the procurement law, public procurement law in Romania, now it's a barrier for development of AI.
It's accepted at EU level. There are a number of initiatives to encourage innovation procurement. However, you need still the authorities or the public institution to accept to go that way, and it's not standard, and they are not comfortable with it. Actually, we have two questions from online. Very quick questions, very quick answers, please. For Zaya, how many doctors you have in your team? How do you collaborate with them? A short answer, if possible. And then for Niku, how do you clinical validate your AI model? And then we'll wrap up.
8 pathologies, the most amazing one.
Thank you very much. Niku, how do you clinical validate the model?
In one word, hard.
Hard.
No, but it's the same as for any other medical product, right? So you need a plan. You need to say what the goals are, clear goals, right? So what do I want? Do I want a precision of 40% or do I want a precision of 80%? Right? So this is for us, for humans to set, and then you just take your AI model, go into the clinic and say, okay, let's try it. But always, but as Clausewitz said, sometimes even the simplest thing in war are very hard to attend to. So
Clausewitz. So moving from healthcare to strategics. We started 10 minutes late, so would be on time according to this. If I would try to summarize the session, thank you very much thank you for the audience here. Thank you for the audience online who was engaged. We have a couple of more questions. We will relay them to the relevant speakers. And I would like to keep 3 words from this session. The human part, because we should never forget we are talking about humans, and the first do not harm still applies in the current context. And with computers, you can do a lot of harm very fast if you are not properly managing the process. The second thing about the data, and I remember from Nico's presentation, it was half of the circle was data. And then we can do it easier, but it first will be harder before it gets easier. And then the reality implementation, things seem easy until you start to do it. Nevertheless, I believe that we are in a good point. We are in a good mindset, and there is significant progress compared to the previous years. Sometimes opportunities are not where you think they are. Would encourage you to use the following opportunities that we have from the EU level, maybe also at national level, with a young generation of doctors a bit more open and a bit more curious, not afraid to collaborate with the patient. Because I was thinking of the discussion, why is the press saying that AI will replace the doctors? Let's be honest, you have a lot of doctor in your knowledge. How many of them do you actually like? Or how comfortable it is for you to talk with a doctor? Because you will always be, have a certain sense of unease. So it's the doctor with the AI that will actually move results further, move medicine further, and be able to move our life. Thank you to all for being here with us from BEHEALTH to 2025 from Bucharest, Romania. Looking forward to see the progress during the next steps. Once again, congrats to all present in the panel, and we are motivated to continue. Thank you very much.